Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Browns halftime show. The score: the Patriots 9 and the Browns 7. And this is pretty simple as far as I'm concerned, as far as what's going on here. One play, literally is the is the basis for everything that I've seen from Dillon Gabriel. First, we start out with the first drive, and suddenly he's throwing balls to open receivers. But those are scripted plays, folks. And when a quarterback gets a scripted play, he knows who his primary is, and he looks and waits for that primary, in the case of Harold Fannin on a couple of occasions, and throws the ball. And bingo, we got yardage. But the whole game isn't scripted, of course, and there has to be some freelance capability of a quarterback. The one play in the first half that defines this entire football game so far for the Browns and the entire fate of the Browns as long as Dillon Gabriel is the quarterback. And that one play, Isaiah Bond standing wide open on the sidelines. Gabriel didn't even look at him. He's the fastest receiver on the field. He beats his man. You saw it on replay. He peels right off and goes right by him. Nobody's covering him. And there's Dillon diddling around back there like he's a fucking marionette. And look, like Edith Bunker. Ow! I'm supposed to throw to him. So he winds up and he throws a ball that looked like it was a dirigible. That's an SAT word for blimp. He lacks vision and he lacks arm strength. And you know what that equals? Death in the NFL. He's not even a backup quarterback. He has no arm. And he can't see the field. I'm going to say this to everybody who's saying that Shedeur Sanders is going to get traded. Look, I wouldn't doubt anything as far as the Cleveland Browns are concerned. Of course, it wouldn't make any sense drafting a man and never even giving him a chance to play, but it gives Browns fans something to talk about in lieu of winning, which they very rarely do. As long as he's on the field, Dillon Gabriel, we don't get a chance at seeing somebody else. But it's devastating when you can't see the field and you don't have the arm to throw it downfield. Why do you think that Kevin Stefanski's drawing up plays in the mud, throwing backwards to Larvidan, handing it off and then trying to flip it back to the quarterback, and he's doing the Freddie Kitchens thing? Why do you think that's happening? Simple enough. He's got a quarterback who has no arm. You'd rather throw the ball out across the field to Larvidan, who's got a better arm than Dillon Gabriel. There hasn't been a single long pass thrown all year, the whole fucking season. Not one. Tell me one bomb that Dillon Gabriel has tried to throw. Yeah, you can't. I'm waiting in the chat room. I'm waiting very patiently. There hasn't been one. He can't throw it that far.
It's me, Dillon Gabriel. I can't get it there.
It's like giving the lead role in a porn movie to a guy who's a limp dick. What's the point? In that case, where's the point? Oh, my God. There's nothing else to say. The defense I saw on 3 replays, they're not even watching receivers run past them. They're not. Let them scoot right on by. Quarterback can't throw it that far. The only thing he can run are scripted plays. this quarterback who supposedly is so cerebral. No, he's not. He may be cerebral in the way he converses, the way he acts and reacts to things. Now, on the other hand, look at Drake May, who's not Tom Brady, by the way. No matter how many times they're trying to shove it down our throats, he's not Tom Brady. But you saw when old man Austin Hooper beat us down the middle, how fast that ball got there on a rope. Dillon Gabriel can't make that throw. He would throw the ball and loft it in the air, and the defender would come and either pick it off or knock it down. You know it. I know it. Everybody knows that. You know, and that's the thing. Stefanski's out of ideas. I told you this weeks ago. He's done. He's finished. He's just trying to keep his nose clean so we can get a job next season somewhere. That's all this is. And Ken, he's not Brady, and he's good so far. He's turned the ball over. Fact that he turned it over to a team that can't do shit after the offense gets a hold of the ball. But no, I say that Drake May is a fine young quarterback. Nothing wrong with him whatsoever. He has the requisite arm, and he sees the field relatively well. Holds onto the ball too long. That I can tell you. And if he was behind, I have a feeling he would try to be forcing that ball. If you're playing from ahead, it's going to be very hard to beat a guy like this because he's on top of the world. But it doesn't work that way in the NFL for too long anyway. Alistair, I don't know what your question is. In English, please. Waste a third what? Oh, timeout? So the kicker could compose himself and make it. You see, if it were Andre shit, you make him think about it and he'd hook it left. But that didn't happen. Oh, my Lord. There is no running game. There is no running game. And you're right, Jim. I'm not going to say anything bad about Drake May, but I'm not like, God, he deserved all the blowjobs he's been getting. No. He's doing what he needs to. He's only up, my God, 9-7. And they had it down in the end zone, near the end zone. They've had it, in good field position. And by the way, if David Talevsky is watching this program, Jim Schwartz defense has held them every time in the red zone. Huh? See, these people don't show up in the chat room when everything they keep repeating over and over turns not to be the case. I sit and wait. And I say, I'm going to give Dillon Gabriel a chance. I'm going to see him play in a number of games. What's the point of having a guy who can run a 4.35 40 if your quarterback can't launch a ball far enough for him? What's the point? And there you have it. Kevin has his multiple tight ends. Kevin has his running backs. And the only way that they could possibly complete a long pass in Kevin's mind, this is from the head coach's perspective. And you see, if I were a member of the press and they let me in to that post-game conference, I'd be all over his ass. I say that's the reason, isn't it? Because if you throw the ball up in the air and they're completely faked out, the receiver can fair catch it and maybe run a few yards afterwards. It's the only way you're gonna complete a deep pass. It's really sad. And for the rest of the world who doesn't understand, and the people who are brain damaged on X, you don't know what you have in Shedeur Sanders until you play him. But I'll tell you this, he'd have gotten that pass to his receiver, to Isaiah Bond. He'd have gotten it there. Whether he'd have gotten it there in time or not, as far as whether he would have seen it quickly enough, I can't answer that. I haven't seen him play. But I know that he has the requisite arm strength to get it there. And I also know that the guy who's playing quarterback right now does not have the requisite arm strength. And right off the bat, that forces our running game into being Guest out. Judkins has nowhere to run. Dylan Sampson's not allowed to take a handoff from the quarterback. I don't know what's going on. And Jerome Ford has to come in must-pass situations because the other guys can't block yet because they're rookies. I don't know. And we wasted a good opportunity. Great play by Schlesinger. That was great to see that interception. Wasn't that lovely? Shame we didn't fall on the fumble and the strip by Myles Garrett, who's playing a good game today. And Wright is playing a good game today. But what does it matter when you're a 7-point offensive team? What does it matter? And I don't know what they practice all week. I have no idea. But I guess it doesn't matter because you have to throw within a phone booth with this quarterback. He's a bow wow. Bow wow. And I'm not saying, I'm not going to put a smiley face on this anymore and say, well, he's a career backup. No, he's a bow wow. He's not going to make it in the NFL. He doesn't have the arm strength. McFly. You try to protect somebody, say, I want to give him a chance, but the more I see him, I know he just doesn't have it. He was drafted coming out of the 3rd round, and they said in college he didn't have a strong arm. Boy, they weren't kidding, were they? You know, I don't, and David did notice. Yeah, but you're not saying shit, Mr. Big. Yeah, I thought the Browns have played well enough for the first half to be ahead further. They get the play by Schlesinger, and what happens? There's stall. Nothing. There's nothing offensively. And the defense runs out of it. The defense is like, I'm completely out of patience with this. Forget it. Not going to work. Not going to work for us. We can give it to the offense 100 times, and we'll be punting 3 downs later. No, watch yourself. Check yourself, man. Deshaun Kaiser was in a league of his own. Women's football. That was a league of his own. At any rate, I see all the comments. I'm not going to be able to catch up to it all, but I will be back after the game, and we'll have more to say, and it will be straight from my heart, and no lies, no PR, no bullshit. This is Moohead Radio. I may be wrong, but I'm not a whore. I'll see you after the game. Until then, let's see if we can do something. Okay? See you after the game. Bye-bye.